Welcome to our What is Organic Agriculture module.
This module was authored by Christine Moncada, Harriet Bahar, Constance Carlson, Gigi DiGiacomo, and Craig Schaefer of the University of Minnesota in 2017 and was updated in 2026. Narrated by Constance Carlson, with additional narration generated using the AI voice of Hannah from ElevenLabs.
In this module, we will provide a brief overview of organic agriculture, beginning with how organic is defined, what the cropping standards are, and how organic is enforced. You might have noticed this symbol on food labels at your grocery store. It is the USDA Organic Seal, which can only be used on items that meet the organic standards set in the National Organic Program by the USDA's Agricultural Marketing Service. We cover more on who can use this seal in our certification module. Organic has many meanings, but ultimately, at the very basic level, organic is a marketing term defined by federal law under the National Organic Program. The USDA Organic Seal can only be used on foods that are grown, processed, and handled according to the USDA organic standards. While organic is legally a marketing term, there is much more behind organic in its guiding principles. Practitioners manage their farm holistically as an agro-ecosystem. They consider the whole ecosystem, including soil, water, and air, in growing their crops. In discussing organic agriculture, we will be comparing it to what is more typical in agriculture today, a system called conventional agriculture. Also sometimes called industrial agriculture, conventional agriculture uses synthetic substances that are prohibited in organic agriculture and is generally a less diverse system. In this section, we will cover the cropping methods organic farmers use in their production systems. Organic producers are committed to practices that protect natural resources for later generations. Under the National Organic Program, they follow these guidelines that we will discuss in more detail. Maintaining healthy soils is one of the most important tenets of organic agriculture. Soil building rotations with cover crops, perennials, and legumes are an integral practice used by organic farmers. Cover crops and perennials such as alfalfa can help protect soil by reducing erosion. They utilize legumes in their rotations to provide a natural source of nitrogen to the soil and subsequently their crops. Organic farmers maintain and increase soil organic matter by adding manure, compost, green manures, and cover crops to their systems. Organic matter is extremely important. It is a source of nutrients for crops, it improves soil structure and moisture retention, and it supports microbial activity. Along with soil, organic farmers aim to protect water resources as well. Many practices in organic agriculture can help protect water quality. Building healthy soils can increase nutrient and moisture retention to reduce runoff. Slow-release fertilizers like compost and green manures can reduce nutrient leaching. Maintaining conservation buffers can decrease runoff. A high-quality buffer, such as the one on the left, protects the stream from contamination and soil sedimentation from erosion. It also provides wildlife habitat. The stream on the right has little protection and no refuge for wildlife. The Farm Service Agency has a program that will pay organic farmers for the land they leave in a buffer zone, similar to conservation reserve payments. Contact your FSA office for more information. NOP rules state that an organic producer must initiate and maintain practices to support biodiversity. Organic farmers promote biodiversity in several ways. One way is through diverse rotations. They include different crops in their rotations. They are not allowed to do continuous cropping, which is growing the same crop such as corn every year, or a typical row cropping system consisting of just corn and soybean as a rotation. Organic farmers are also required to have a soil building rotation, which includes use of legumes or small grains. In addition to diverse rotations, organic farmers are highly encouraged to incorporate natural areas such as wetlands, woodlands, and conservation buffers for wildlife habitat. Perennial crops and cover crops can also provide refuge for native species, beneficial insects, and birds. Often it seems that organic agriculture is defined by what cannot be used. While we know there is more to it than that, it is still critical for new to organic farmers to know what substances they are prohibited from using. In organic agriculture, you will hear the term synthetic substance and may not know what exactly that means. A synthetic substance is something that has been artificially created or a substance that originates from natural materials but has been chemically changed. As a basic rule, organic farmers can't use synthetic fertilizers or pesticides. A few synthetics are allowed, but only after rigorous review and approval. Approved synthetics and prohibited natural materials are present on the national list. We will discuss synthetic substances such as fertilizers, herbicides, and other pesticides such as insecticides in more detail. We will also discuss what organic farmers do instead. Synthetic fertilizers are derived from various chemical processes and are often highly soluble. Commonly used examples of nitrogen fertilizers are anhydrous ammonia and urea. An example of a synthetic phosphorus fertilizer is triple superphosphate. There are many other different synthetic fertilizers used in conventional systems. Rather than synthetic fertilizers, organic producers use manure, compost, green manures, and legumes in their rotations to supply necessary crop nutrients. There are other commercially available products, such as pelletized manure and fish emulsions, that may be allowed. Watch the Soil Fertility module for more information on allowed amendments, and the Certification module for more on the National Organic Program's National List of Allowed and Prohibited Substances. Synthetic herbicides are widely used to kill weeds, but they may have negative consequences to the environment. Organic farmers cannot use synthetic herbicides such as glyphosate, also known as Roundup, atrazine, or 2,4-D in their operations. Some natural type herbicides are allowed in organic production. Always verify with your certifier that products are allowed before use. Organic alternatives to synthetic herbicides can fall into three main categories: cultural, biological, and mechanical management. Cultural weed management includes using rotation and crops such as perennials and cover crops that compete well against weeds. Biological weed management can mean providing habitat for insects and small mammals who eat weed seeds before they become problematic. Mechanical weed management is using physical means, primarily tillage, to destroy weeds. Flame weeding uses fire to burn and kill weeds. With a few exceptions, other synthetic pesticides, such as fungicides, insecticides, and nematicides for disease, insects, and nematodes, are generally not allowed. The first line of defense against disease and insects is cultural management techniques, such as rotation, using resistant crop varieties, changing planting dates to avoid pests, and keeping equipment clean. Providing habitat for insect predators is an example of biological management. There are organic, non-synthetic, or natural products that can be used instead of pesticides, such as insecticidal soap, neem, and pyrethrum. A few synthetic pesticides are allowed, but to use approved synthetic products for pest management in organic production, the farmer must document that they used cultural, biological, or mechanical methods and/or natural products and found these to be ineffective. Please watch the certification module for more information on finding allowed products. Always consult with your certifier before using new products. There is another category of prohibited substances that you have probably heard of before: genetically modified organisms. All genetically modified organisms, or GMOs for short, are prohibited in organic agriculture. The technology used to create GMOs includes gene deletion, gene doubling, moving genes within a genome, and introducing a foreign gene when achieved by recombinant DNA technology. These methods generally do not occur under natural conditions and are not considered compatible with organic production. An example of a crop that is commonly genetically modified is corn. Corn, like the hybrid pictured, can have genes from other species such as bacteria inserted into its genome that result in different traits. In this case, the corn has two inserted genes. One called Bt that offers protection from corn borer insects without the use of pesticides. A second gene called Roundup Ready provides resistance to glyphosate herbicide, allowing farmers to spray their crops for weeds with minimal harm to the crop. As future organic farmers, you will need to make sure none of the organic crops you grow are genetically modified. Genetically modified seeds cannot be planted as an organic crop and cannot be used during the 3 years of transition to organic. These are the common genetically modified crops you may come across at this time, but note that more GMOs are likely to be created in the future. Please watch our module on GMO contamination to learn about genetically modified organisms in greater detail. To ensure that crop seed is not GMO, organic farmers are required to use organic seed, meaning it has been grown under organic conditions. Not only is organic seed non-GMO, it also does not have prohibited substances such as non-approved synthetic fungicides. During the transition years, untreated non-organic seed is allowed, but once certified organic, organic seed must be sourced whenever possible. There are other genetically modified organisms besides crop species. These include genetically modified rhizobia, used to inoculate legumes, Bt products used as biocontrols, and other microbial soil products. All of these are not allowed in organic production. However, when farmers use certified organic products, they do not need to worry about these substances being present. And lastly, organic farmers need to protect their organic land and their organic crops from outside sources of contamination. It isn't enough to just use organic seed and products. Organic farmers must make sure that pesticides and GMO materials from adjacent areas don't contaminate their crops. The primary way organic farmers do this is through buffers. Buffers are situated between organic and non-organic land to help prevent air and waterborne materials, such as pesticides and GMO pollen, from contaminating their fields. A specific buffer size is not stated in NOP rules. The width is site-specific based on risk of contamination as determined by the organic farmer's certifier. A typical buffer in our region is 30 feet wide. Organic farmers also have stringent practices to make sure that conventional crops don't mix in with their organic crops. Of particular concern to grain buyers is GMO contamination, so crops such as corn and soybean are tested by buyers and periodically by certifiers to make sure that GMOs are not present. Sewage sludge is a product used as a fertilizer by some farmers. It and its byproducts are prohibited in organic production. It can contain pathogens and high concentrations of heavy metals. Irradiation is another process prohibited in organics, and so are irradiated products. Always verify with your certification agency that a material is allowed before you use an input, whether you are in transition or are certified as organic. We've discussed many different types of contamination, from GMOs, synthetic pesticides, and even pathogens. Pathogens are important to consider in food production because they cause sickness in people. Some allowed amendments, especially those derived from animal products, may contain pathogens. That's why organic agriculture has rules on manure and compost to maintain food safety. Animal manure is commonly used as a nutrient source, but it can contain E. coli or other microorganisms. To protect food crops, manure can only be applied during certain times in the growing season so that pathogens won't be present on harvested materials. We will cover the details on rules for manure application in the Soil Fertility module. Rather than applying raw manure directly to fields, it can be processed, either by composting or by heat treatment, to avoid the application restrictions of raw manure. Properly composted manure should not contain pathogens, and there are NOP rules that govern composting so that it is heated at high enough temperatures for a long enough time to kill pathogens. Another safeguard that organic rules incorporate is detailed record keeping, which can also serve to promote food safety. This means that a product can be traced back to its source more easily than in conventional systems. An organic crop is tracked from seed to sale, and organic farmers keep track of all inputs and activities surrounding their crop's production, storage, and sale. We'll discuss this more in the certification module. There are many rules to follow to be certified organic. Who creates these rules? What is there to stop people from not being compliant to these rules? For our last topic in the module, we will cover the regulation of the National Organic Program. The regulatory program responsible for organic is the National Organic Program, which is part of the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. The primary duties of the NOP is to oversee organic standard development, to enforce organic standards, and to accredit certifying agencies. For more on how this system developed, watch our History of Organic module. Organic standards are developed and updated by the National Organic Program, which facilitates the review of allowed materials. The NOP is advised by the NOSB, or the National Organic Standards Board. The National Organic Program gets input on organic rules from a citizen advisory board called the National Organic Standards Board. The board is composed of organic farmers, organic processors, scientists, environmentalists, certifying agents, and consumers who are appointed by the Secretary of Agriculture. The NOSB reviews and votes on proposals such as which practices or substances should be allowed or prohibited. The national list of allowed and prohibited substances can be found on the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations. The NOSB meets twice a year for 3 to 4 days of hearings to gather public input. Any citizen can petition to have a material put on or taken off the national list. The NOSB may also develop draft production system proposals. If a proposal gets 2/3 of the board's vote, it moves on to the Secretary of the USDA, who must approve these recommendations before they become part of the organic regulation. The NOP does not directly handle the details of ensuring that individual farmers are following organic standards. They accredit certifying agencies who work with farmers to make sure that organic rules are followed. For more information, please watch the Certification module. Certifiers are assessed by the NOP every 2.5 years in order to retain accreditation. The USDA NOP investigates alleged violations of organic production, handling, and labeling standards. Violations can have significant financial penalties. Here is an overview of the hierarchy of the National Organic Program. It starts with the Agricultural Marketing Service of the USDA. The next level is certifying agencies, then the certified organic farms, and ends with consumers who purchase organic foods. We have reached the end of the What is Organic Agriculture module. Please see our other modules for more information on production and other organic topics.
This project is supported by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, National Institute of Food and Agriculture, Organic Transitions Program under Award Number 2013-5, 1106-2-1005. This project is supported by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Marketing Service, National Organic Program under the Transition to Organic Partnership Program, TOPP, in the Midwest region. Any opinions, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this publication are those of the authors and should not be construed to represent any official USDA or U.S. government determination or policy. The University of Minnesota shall provide equal access to and opportunity in its programs, facilities, and employment without regard to race, color, creed, religion, national origin, gender, age, marital status, familial status, disability, public assistance status, membership or activity in a local commission created for the purpose of dealing with discrimination, veteran status, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. For more information about this project, please see organicag.umn.edu, copyright 2026, Regents of the University of Minnesota. All rights reserved.